Our efforts today and onwards must be to redouble all of our efforts to bring to the world's attention the current brutality that is every day happening in Tehran and other parts of the country, Iran. Those abuses continue today unabated. The litany of crimes against humanity is getting longer and longer. And notwithstanding the serious concern that the world has about nuclear proliferation and the ambitions of the mullahs and the effectiveness of economic sanctions, it's our duty to continue to draw and put the attention and put the spotlight on the human rights abuses. Since the uprisings in Iran in 2009 and 2010, many supporters of the main opposition, the PMOI, have been executed and many more have been imprisoned. Many of the people imprisoned are suffering torture simply for having family contact with members of the PMOI, simply for the fact that they have visited them in Camp Ashraf. More recently, we've seen the duplicitous actions of the al-Maliki government as they carried out the dictates of the mullah's regime in Ashraf and the so-called concentration camp, I call it so-called concentration camp of Camp Liberty.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished representatives, dear friends, I would like to draw your attention explicitly to the catastrophic situation of human rights in Iran. In order to survive, the mullahs have resorted to torture and execution on a daily basis. They have increased executions in Iran from 550 in 2010 to 670 in 2011. So far this year, they have executed hundreds more. A significant number of those executed are angry young protesters. There are dissidents among them as well. The mullahs have at least 60 repressive institutions in the country, including several types of anti-riot agencies, several sections for torture, and at least 12 others for filtering websites and controlling emails. If the Western governments had condemned the mullahs for their major crimes, such as the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988, they would not have been so emboldened. This is the name of 20,000 of martyrs in Iran. But unfortunately, Western governments are either passive or have failed to take appropriate action to deal with this urgent situation. Regarding Camps Ashraf and Liberty, in line with appeasing the mullahs regime, Western governments have either become partners in the crackdown on the combatants of freedom or are simply onlookers to this suppression. By taking advantage of this disgraceful position, the mullahs regime resorted to the massacre of the residents and enforced an inhuman siege. Therefore, on behalf of the Iranian people's resistance, I call on the world community, above all the United States and the United Kingdom, to first, hold the regime accountable for its gross violation of human rights, torture, and systematic rape of prisoners. Second, make economic ties with this regime conditional on a complete halt to executions. Third, refer the Iranian regime's human rights dossier to the UN Security Council and put regime's leading officials, particularly Khamenei, on trial for committing crime against humanity. Fourth, decisively disarm the mullahs regime, prohibit its use of the missile program and warplanes, implement the Security Council resolutions on the ban on export of weapons by the regime. And fifth, recognize the Iranian people's resistance and struggle for regime change and remove all obstacles in its path. I also call on the United States and the United Kingdom to undertake their responsibility under international law to ensure the security, freedom, and fundamental rights of the residents of Liberty and Ashraf. Camp Liberty has been turned into a de facto detention center with hard labor. This is the result of Western government's appeasement of the mullahs and their Iraqi proxies. This is the result of the UN irresponsibility. It's expected that the Secretary General ends this situation. We ask him to use his authority to declare Camp Liberty a refugee camp and prevent the Iraqi government from plundering the properties of the residents in Ashraf. The residents must be able to sell their movable and immovable assets freely. And in the end, I wish you success, and once again, I thank you all very much.